All right, next we'll go to Christopher Stock from Inside the U. Christopher, you should be able to unmute.
Yeah, Jesse, kind of staying with the ACC with Miami, 5-7 in Mario Cristobal's first year. What would you consider a successful year for Miami this year? Maybe some keys for their success.
Well, I know we always get excited about Miami, obviously because of the talent and what they're able to bring in and the speed on the field they're going to have. I think last year, obviously, there were some growing pains with a new staff, familiarity with players. And Tyler Van Dyke obviously, had some struggles early in the season after really being remarkable 2 years ago. I think a huge key, obviously, is going to be the quarterback position and getting more consistent play. I'm really excited because I'm going to be calling Miami versus Texas A&M week 2, and I think that's a massive barometer in terms of Mario Cristobal, year 2, players feeling comfortable schematically with respect to what they're doing and what the expectation level is in Miami, because it's always sky high. It's something Miami hasn't consistently been able to live up to since joining the ACC. But I think this also has a chance to be a special year because from a talent standpoint, on paper, they look really, really good. But the quarterback position is going to be critical. And I think going up against Texas A&M, a team that they obviously lost to a year ago, is going to be very, very big from a momentum standpoint and getting a barometer on where this team is.
Next, we'll go to, I see Orlando Sentinel. I'm assuming that's Matt. Matt, you should be able to unmute.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse, for doing this. I wanted to ask about Jordan Travis, his development over the last couple of years, and what do you see from him going into this year, and how important is his success for what Florida State wants to accomplish?
I feel like Jordan Travis is must-watch television. As a former quarterback and as a guy that really wasn't that athletic, it's a lot of fun to watch Jordan Travis take the field and go play. And to answer your question, I feel like Jordan Travis has really evolved from just being a really good athlete playing the quarterback position to becoming a quarterback. He's always been an outstanding runner. He's always been able to avoid negative plays with his legs. But I think last year he took such a big step in the passing game, decision-making standpoint, timing standpoint, anticipating throws, and accuracy. And it completely took the Florida State offense, I think, to a different level. He already had really, really good weapons to throw to. He's got receivers that are 6'7", for God's sakes. But I think bringing in Keon Coleman from Michigan State, I think takes this thing to another level now. Florida State, I mentioned it at the top. I think that's a team that has a chance to make a lot of noise. One of the biggest reasons is because they've got a guy with so much experience, but who's just getting so much better each and every year. And after really what was a tremendous season a year ago, I can't wait to see him now take the next step. And, when I was talking about those great matchups week 1, the one I'm really focusing on is Sunday night in Orlando against LSU. I think that game, obviously it has massive implications, but that's the game that has national championship, Heisman Trophy implications, because Jordan Travis absolutely should be on everybody's Heisman radar to start the year very, very soon.
Next, we'll go to Jacob from ESPN Radio Auburn. Jacob, you should be able to unmute.
Hey, Jesse, thanks so much for your time this morning. When you look at college football in 2023, a year that seems to be the last one before there are so many changes across the landscape of the sport, what's your message to college football fans to take in this 2023 season before all those crazy changes do happen?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the change is coming and you just have to sort of embrace it. And we are where we are and it's not going back. I'm a college football purist and a traditionalist. I hate conference expansion. I hate losing rivalry games. I mean, to me, that's part of what makes the sport so great. But this is the new reality. Obviously, next year, we're heading to an expanded college football playoff. Conferences are going to start to look a whole lot different. And really just to enjoy this year for what it is. I think it has a chance to be an extremely special year. But change is coming and it's inevitable. And there'll be, hopefully, as I'm trying to put a spin on this to make myself feel better about it all, new rivalries are going to happen. New history will be made, and it's all about new. And we're kind of starting at ground zero that way. And this sport will continue to shine. It'll continue to be great. It's just not going to look like the way it did for a lot of us.
Jacob has another one. Jacob, go ahead.
Well, before we get out of here, are we able to get Jesse Palmer's official college football playoff predictions, conference predictions, all that type of stuff before we go?
Yeah, and I want the ability to change my mind because this is way too early. For the playoff, I'll say Michigan, I'll say Georgia, I'll say Florida State, and I'll say Texas. That's my still too early college football playoff prediction. Wisconsin is a team I think people need to just be aware of out of the Big Ten. I think they obviously hit a home run with the Luke Fickell hire. I think you could argue that they may have gotten the best transfer portal player in Tanner Mordecai. I know everyone's talking about Sam Hartman. We talked about Devin Leary. Tanner Mordecai in an air raid offense is really good. If you've watched SMU play it all the last 2 years, he's thrown like 72 touchdown passes or something. Phil Longo, the hire at the offensive coordinator, I thought was great. It's going to be so funny watching Wisconsin run the air raid, by the way. And Braylon Allen's one of the best running backs in the nation. Ches Malusi's fantastic. And they're going to play great defense. And they don't play Penn State or Michigan, and they get Ohio State and Iowa at home. So team off the radar that I think people should be paying attention to is Wisconsin.
Nice. We'll go to Perry Suck at WPIX. Perry, you should be able to unmute.
Unmuted. Hey, Jesse. Sorry if I missed this early on in the convo. With all the realignment, with this kind of the last year of semi-normalcy, how much of this, rivalry renewed stuff, how big of a game do you expect to get from Oklahoma State against an Oklahoma or Oregon against the USC? How much is that going to play into the season, do you think?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, I can't even imagine the emotion behind those games, especially if they might go away. I remember calling Texas A&M Thanksgiving. We used to call that every year on Thursday nights. And when Texas A&M left, just talking to fans, everybody was so upset, and you have to appreciate it in the moment in playing these games, not knowing when they're going to be played again. To me, it's the saddest part about all of the real. If you think about it too much, it's really, really sad. But getting the backyard brawl back this year and games like that too, it's my hope moving forward, regardless of what happens with conference realignment, that these schools can somehow come together and in the non-conference schedule and put those games on the docket. I just feel like they have to. Bedlam, which you just referenced, is one of my favorite rivalries and something that I look forward to every single year. It's so sad if that goes away. It's just terrible, and that's happening all across the country. I really hope that'll be taken into consideration in the future in scheduling. But for fans, for players, they're getting an opportunity now to play in these games, and you don't know when it's going to be played again. You really have to be present and just appreciate what it is, because we don't have it in any other sport. We don't.